What's going on, fellow humans and resellers? It is I, James, FreeAdoptionAgency.com, 23 years selling full-time on eBay. And we are Thursday? Yes, Thursday morning. We are at 6:41. I was able to get up early again today. Got up about 5:30. Pee-wee let me sleep all night, so that was good. And I actually even slept all night, so didn't have to get up to go to the bathroom or nothing. Yay! When you're reaching 50, you're 54 years old, that's a good thing, right? As you get older. Yay. You always hear horror stories of people having to get up in the middle of the night so many times to go to the bathroom. But I think yesterday was kind of a reminder for me. Like, as you know, I've been going down this road, getting out of the headspaces and places and away from the people that don't need to be, if you will. I think yesterday was definitely a nice reminder day of just literally all the things. Just all the things across the board, and even it helped put even like one of today's sales in perspective. What do I mean by all this? So, as you know, I've always talked about this bubble, James's world, and not caring about whatever the hell goes on outside of it. I think yesterday was kind of a reminder to stay there. I don't need to try to stick up for somebody or whatever when I see it online or on YouTube, because there's so many different types of people out there. You're going to get your clout chasers and your people whose level of experiences are different. They're either known or not known. Deceptions are there, and you can't save everybody, right? You can't change everybody. You can't try to open everybody's eyes to things, because some people either don't want to see it or they just don't have no intentions or care, because they're in that other lane of whether it's deceitfulness, known or unknown, denial, whatever the case. You're just not. So stay in my lane, right? Stay in my bubble. Stay in my world. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? And yes, and I've been doing a pretty good job at that. But when I was just seeing things over and over again, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I let it affect me. And I shouldn't. I shouldn't care. I shouldn't even see it, right? I shouldn't even care. It shouldn't even be on my radar. I should worry about what's in my bubble. Worry about what's trying to come into my bubble, not reaching outside of my bubble. So I think yesterday was a nice reality check for me. Going back into your lane, James. Back into your bubble. Everybody else. And so there I am. Because it's just not worth it, right? We're just back to the mode of, especially on social media nowadays, if I don't like something, block it so you don't see it again, so it doesn't pop up again, so you don't have to interact with it again, whatever the case may be. Just block it. There's no the only people who complain about people who block things or block people are the people who do things to become blocked. Any normal people are not going to care, because they're not going to do things that's going to cause that, right? They're just going to be informative or positive or just, hi, how you doing? acquaintance type, so just close the door and move on. And if somebody else wants to fight their fight, unless it comes to my doorstep, or it comes to somebody in my bubble, if you will, then I'll step up, right? So when it comes to social media, people I don't know physically, I mean, there's a lot of you guys I feel are friends. Like I would hang out with you if we ran into one another. But then there are, and those people I would stick up for if it came to my door, right? Or if you came to me and said, oh, so-and-so says this, blah, 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 I would probably stick my nose in it. Just because that's who I am. But anything other than that, or if it's about me, or if it's not somebody within my bubble, worry about my bubble. Don't care. So, I think it was a nice step on my journey back to my bubble. So, if you've been watching, because a lot of the problems come and stem from people who don't watch, who are not invested in either the people in the videos, or even the content that they create and the reasons behind it. It's more of a pick and choose. And then, you only see a certain biased part, and you make assumptions or whatever based on that. Like, how many times just because I'm maybe talking negatively about a problem with eBay, people automatically think that I'm a negative person because they've only seen that one portion. They picked and choose what they wanted to, what they chose to watch. They don't see the videos where I'm making stupid jokes, or, or they call content of me with, uploading of the puppies, a waste of time or stupid or what. Everybody's got their own little headspace, and that has nothing to do with me. So, because like yesterday, I was just in this get this done mode, and nothing else concerned me. Hell, I didn't even look at my numbers. I don't even know what I did yesterday yet. So it'll be a surprise to me to see what I did yesterday. I wanted to get that done. I wanted to take Pee Wee for a walk. And nothing else mattered, except I saw something I didn't like. I interjected myself, said my piece, and moved on, when I should have just never been there in the first place. I should have never even seen it in the first place. So from now on, if it's not, if it's not people that I consider friends, I don't care. If it's not like, say, a Josh or a Primo, or even a, John from Flippin' Ain't Easy, or just people, Scott, Bearded Picker, and then a lot of you guys who comment who don't make content, Kim, or, and then, of course, I would only interject if you cared. You know what I mean? If you didn't care, then, hey, I'm not going to care, type of thing. But there's too many levels of people, mentalities, mindsets out there to worry about any of that stuff. There's just too many. That takes away from me. That takes away from what I enjoy doing. So why bother, right? And that's the way I used to always be. Who cares? Unless it's one of my friends that you're messing with, whatever, move on. Pay no attention forget about it. You forgot about the next minute type of scenario. So coming back to that, as you've seen, has been a slow progress over the past several weeks. So like I said, yesterday was a nice boost into that, back into that reality. Because all that mattered was me getting what I wanted done. Nothing else mattered. So even with the one hiccup of making a comment on a video that shouldn't matter, on a channel that shouldn't matter, but, so I went ahead. I don't know what blocking does when it comes to seeing things in your feed of channels you don't need to watch. So I block that channel. So hopefully just the stuff won't even come up in my feed no more. I'm not sure if it does that or not. I guess I should Google it and see. That was the hope behind it. I don't need to see this content because it's kind of pointless. It's kind of deceiving, however you want to look at it. So, and that's the reason I stopped even saying names when I see stuff like that. Because I don't want to give credit or credence or whatever you want to call it to something I don't believe in, right? So why am I even letting it pop up in my feed, if you will, if it works that way? So yep, I enjoy life too much. Why care? So remember and get involved with the things that you enjoy, as opposed to something you view as a negative. So I've always been the person I would stick up for somebody else before I'd stick up for myself, or even care what somebody else says about me, because I know who I am and what I do. And I think that's one reason why I try to, when I make videos, I talk about anything and everything, because I'm not about putting on a facade. If you pull just one thing out of one video of mine, you're definitely not going to get the full context of me as a person. At least that's what I try to portray on video, which may be harder than just real life, because if you're interacting with somebody in real life every day, you know who they are 100% because they're there in front of you. Whereas opposed to video, it might be a little bit harder, or there might be a little bit more skepticism. You know the word I'm trying to say. Be more skeptic to people, because there's so many people who put on a certain facade on video, which is, depending on what you're trying to do, is not a negative thing. I mean, if you're trying to deceive people, then it's a negative thing. But if you're just trying to put on a show, it's not necessarily a negative thing. There's just different ways of doing videos and making content. So kind of like if you're watching a TV show or something, That's just, I'm more of the actual reality based as opposed to a sitcom, I guess you could say. So, hiccup. So yeah, that's where I am. So back into my lane. Back into your lane, James. So I got a little bit of sales here to ship up, and let's see what I did yesterday. I'm curious. Oh, but perspective too. I wanted to, as I was pulling, I was thinking, Pee-wee's back. Yay! What's up, Pee-wee? So after I made my video yesterday of the disc onlys that I'm working on, and how I have 730 or whatever in my store right now. You can't lay there and lean on me. I got work to do. Yeah. And I sell an average of one a day. Now, some people would look at that and go, well, that's crazy. But who cares? I'm not that person. For me, it's about perspective. So as I'm pulling, I was thinking of all that, and I'm like, well, James, what is your perspective on something like that? Extremely low sell-through rate, lower than normal CDs, normal media, the disc-only stuff. They're going to sit right there by me. And here's my perspective, and I thought about this. Let me do the math, though. So, my thing was, I got 700, I sell one a day. So, if I did 700 more, would I sell two a day? So that was a test. So say that happened. So here's the perspective. How long would it take me to list 700 just a disc? I could probably knock that out in an 8-hour shift. But let's just say, for the sake of slower listers, it would take 2 days. Say it would take 16 hours for somebody to list 700 disc only onto eBay. It's real easy. It's one picture. You just type the name and the title, and boom, you're done. It's real super easy. For me, since I know music, most of it I don't even need to comp, because I know what the value is going to be of the normal CD. But something like, I would have to comp some of the stuff that I know is, when it's full CD, I know it goes for a little bit more. It's collectible, so I want to increase that price a little bit. So there'll be a few I'll look up, like the Prince Crystal Ball. I got 2 of the disc 4 of the box set Princess Crystal Ball, the bootleg CD in there. So I'll look up that and see what I can put that up for. Maybe it's $10 a piece, right? As opposed to just my low $5.99 ones. But anyway. So we're just going to use just common basic numbers and say it's $5 per item I put up. And I do 700 of them in 2 days. And it doubles my sales of my disc onlys from 1 a day to 2 a day. So what is that? Say it's an extra $5 a day. So $5 a day times 30 is $150. Just let's times it by 90, since we know it was 1 a day for the past 90 days on average. So that's $450. And then the money in my pocket, I do a 50-50. 50 is fees and shipping, and 50 is in my pocket. So divide that by 2, and that's $225 for the 3 months. Divide that by 3, and that's an extra $75 a month. So, perspective. Is it worth it for you? And give me your answer if it's worth it for you. I don't expect it to be. But for me, is it worth it to put in 16 hours of work in order to get an extra $75 per month for at least 3 months, since we're going off that data? Is that an electric bill? Part of an electric bill? Is that, your gas bill? Is that your gas for the car for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even a month if you don't drive that far? Is putting in 2 days of work worth paying one bill for the next 3 months? So that's my perspective on things when I do things. Because I don't look at what am I going to get today. I look at what I'm going to get tomorrow, what I'm going to get next week, what I'm going to get next month. So for the next 3 months, if it doubled this 2 a day, which I think it's going to do better, but we're not going to see that with bringing traffic into the store. So I might see an increase in CD sales after doing this. We'll be able to tell that, at least. We won't know if this is fueling it or not, but is putting in 16 hours, and that's it. 16 hours worth paying one $75 bill for the next 3 months. To me, that's worth it. If I'm giving up 2 days out of 90, but yet I'm able to pay for a bill, let's just call it, and it's nowhere, my electric bill I think is like 200 and something, so it's nowhere near. I'm trying to think of a $75 bill. Maybe the water bill. That's worth it to me. Putting in 2 days to pay a bill for 3 months? Hell yeah. I'll do that any day of the week. So that's how I view things. I don't necessarily view things as how I'm going to get the most dollar or the most bang for my buck or the most dollar for an item. Because for me, it's always been about the long-term goal. It's not, when I started 23 years ago, I wanted today to be like it is today. I don't have to source. I'm still making plenty of money per day to pay the bills, to pay the payroll, and with some left over to go sourcing if I wanted to write myself a disbursement check if I want to, whatever. I am where I wanted to be 23 years ago. So having this kind of mindset, you can slobber on me, having this kind of mindset is what got me here today. Because it was never about the quick fix. It was never about the quick, short-term goal. That's what I see, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's your thing, right? A lot of people live for today and they'll be very successful doing so. That just was not my goal. Like when I see people doing whatnot every day, right? And they're just selling every single day. There's two ways to look at that. Yeah, you go, you're hustling, kill it. Do it again tomorrow. And do it again the next day. And do it again the next day. And do it again next week. Do it again. There's something to be said for that. But there's another way of looking at it, from my perspective, is I'm looking at it as, well, if they're not banking money and building up an account, because for me, at the end of the year, when it comes to business, it's about spending the money so I don't have to pay all the extra taxes on it. But if I was doing that business model, I would want to build up a bank account, and I would have to pay taxes on all that profit every year, which would make me unhappy. Because what happens if something happens and you can't do that every day? You can't do that for a week, a month, because XYZ happens to you. If you don't have that bank built up, you're going to start going backwards. You're going to start failing. So it's a different business strategy. I always talk about that. Find what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, your strategy, your business model, if you will. It's a different business model, but you have to prepare for the future just in case there comes a time where you cannot do that. So, but then again, if you're buying every day too, there's a lot of costs in that also. So are you even able to save money because there's so much cost in it? Without knowing the details, you don't know, but you would definitely have to build a bank so that if you're doing it every day for 20 years, something's going to happen within there at one point or another. Whether you're sick or whatever, you've got to be able to compensate for your time off. Where my business model's always been, I can take a week off, I can take a month off, and I'm still going to be able to pay everything and not have no stress or worries about it. So the different mindsets, right? And like I said, neither one of them's wrong or they're just different, and you have to adjust. You have to do not just selling different, but you have to do everything about the business different. So that's when, like kind of yesterday when I was saying, find sellers that do what you do. Only watch the other ones for filler, and really follow the ones who are doing the models that you want, and make sure they're giving you all the information. Like if I was watching somebody who was doing whatnot every day, my question to them, if they're not sharing, is your bank account rising? And is it staying there? Are you keeping a nice cushion? Are you growing a nice cushion every week for yourself? So if something does happen and you can't make no income that day, because you don't have, like eBay, you don't have stuff just out there that can sell 24 hours a day. It's only selling while you're showing it, right? Totally different business model. So you got to have different questions for a seller who's doing it like that. So if that's your business model, think of all those kind of long-term questions and make sure that they're, if they're trying to help as opposed to just trying to create content for monetary value, then ask those questions. So get those answers is probably a better way of saying it. Get those answers, whether it's from that person or somebody else who's doing a similar model. Get those answers for you so that you don't, if you don't think of that and that's your business model, and all of a sudden, guess what? You're out of work for a month because you're sick, and now all of a sudden you don't have no cash. Without them giving you that information, and or without you finding that question to ask because you didn't know, you've been set up to fail. So that's why I always just try to talk about everything. So if you wanted to do what I do, all the good, bad, ugly, etc., etc. I wash his chin every day because he's just got this thing where he scratches his chin now. Not sure where. I think it's because he's always rubbing it on the floor. Well, that's because he's itching it, scratching it. So I don't know what started it, but I've been trying to nip it in the bud. But that's why I just, because I don't want somebody to think you can do something without knowing what the pitfalls are also. So what did I do yesterday? All right, so yesterday was Wednesday. We are in the clothing store right now. We're at 7 a.m. I got 0 sales over here. All right, so remember yesterday I talked about that pattern. If I can predict the pattern of these bars, that's not a good thing. So on the clothing store, it was down, up, down, up, down, up. Day before yesterday was down. So I knew that yesterday was going to be an up day over here, and that it was. But the positive thing is about $100 higher, $50 to $100 higher than the 3 previous up days. So even though it's the same pattern, at least it was up on the low side $50. But still, that pattern. So if it follows that pattern, today will be around a $200 day for the clothing store. So here we are going to try to call that shot again, because that's not right if I can do that just by looking at a graph. With eBay, it should not be that way. I should only be able to call the day with my averages. With my averages mixed with the work I put in, mixed with what items I put up, mixed with, little variables. That's how I've always been able to tell you guys what my dollar day was going to be, because I knew from averages, I knew what kind of work I was going to be putting in that day, what items I might be listing that day. So I was able to tell you guys, I will make this amount today. So with no matter what I do, and if I only pull in $200 on this account today, that's not a prediction that I like making. Not the way I like to make them. All right, so $451 in the clothing store yesterday. So that's good. Which I said. So the next nearest one was 402, which was the second day of the pattern. And then over to the media store, I had the pattern of down, up, up, down, up, down, up, up. So yesterday was supposed to be a down, but technically it wasn't. The other two downs were around 250 to 270, just call it 260 average. Where yesterday, not including the international, was 392. So that seemed to break that pattern. So that's a positive there. I don't have to think about that anymore then. Not that I really thought about it anyway, but let's see if there's any international sales or international website sales. Nope. So $392 there. So not too far away from my $500 goal. So yesterday was an $843 day. So on eBay. Hell of a lot better than it's been. So that's good. It's a good thing. Let's see, my average price per item on the media store was $11.20 yesterday, which is up 4%. But my average per sale was $16.33. So, I'm curious to see what that was, what that number is for the year so far. So this year in the media store, $51,000. The average sale price per item is $11, which is down 38% from the year before. But this year is more concentrated on bulk orders than it was last year because I got the buy two, get two, et cetera, et cetera. So 51,265 point divided by 2,898. So it's about the average of what it normally is. So per order, it's about $17.69. So which I'm good with. So, I'm good with that. All right, let's do some shipping. So being that today looks to be a slow day on the clothing store, I don't have much to ship out here today. So, alrighty. First up, we got this kid's dinosaur cap. Sold for $10.50. Headed to Framingham, Massachusetts. Framingham, Massachusetts. Framingham. We get to actually go down to. It is a kid's hat, toddler hat. E.S. Esther. That's not a good number. Next up, we got this faded, sweat stained, faded Gap hat. Sold for $9.50. Headed to Summerville, South Carolina. Summerville. 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 George Gain? Jorgain? Never seen that name before. Georg, Georgian, A-N-E. Just use your brain, you can figure it out. So yeah, I really mentally enjoyed yesterday for the most of the day. Until I interjected myself. Like, I was just in zones. I'm like just doing what I wanted to do for, which may be a little petty reason. $75 an extra a month may not be worth some people to put in 16 hours. For me, it'd probably only be an 8-hour. Call it 8 to 10 hours just in case, because I do get distracted during the day with taking the puppies out, making puppy videos, and if Jan's here, I'm running around doing everything else too. So we'll just call it a 10-hour day. Italian Open St. Louis hat. So for $10.50, headed to Bronxville, New York. So I might knock that stuff out today. Just get it knocked out today and just get that ball rolling and see if it will up to 2 a day in average. Get that ball rolling. Keep rolling. I get to come down one on that one too. John. So I need to make sure I find that zone every day. Like, it's just very hard for me to. That's why I bought that gum, hoping that gum would work. That neural gum or whatever it's called. Just because it's very hard for me to get locked in every day. But yesterday, for most of the day, I was nice and locked in, and it felt good. I was like just in the zone, getting stuff done. Even though it was just pictures, but still. I was doing it. And in that video, I forgot to show, even when I went down under my desk and showed the yellow containers full, the 2 boxes underneath that were also full of those discs. I totally even blanked on that when I was doing the video. So, Scan form. I keep touching this wet spot, thinking I got it off. It's slobber. Keep finding more. My slobber boy. So we have a little bit more for over here. Did I pull that one? Yes, I did. Shipping labels. We got one going to France. And that's it. All right, first up, we've got... Are you ready? For a DVD line. This is the sale that kind of threw back, because I haven't had a bulk sale of these items in quite a long time. So it was a nice throwback going, yeah, that's why you do this, James. So somebody came in and bought 2, 4, 6, 8 exercise DVDs. $5 a pop. Buy 2, get 2. So yes. I haven't sold exercise DVDs in a lot of them in quite a while. So that was nice to see. I just wish my numbers would pick back up, man. All these eBay issues just so freaking annoying. Even though I'm still making good money, the fact that the number of items I'm selling is not where it used to be, even with far less items. So. But then out of the blue, I'll get one day where I'll sell 100 items. And of course, it's on those days where I'm not having no website issues. Like the offers are still jacked up. I don't understand why these offers have never been fixed. It just literally makes no damn sense to me. I might be able to fit these into a hat box. These are only 8. Like, why is it so difficult to not have one of the main features of your website not work properly for well over a year? Like, it's just very hard to understand why that is. This piece of cardboard. It makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. And I know they know because they had an open ticket for it a couple months ago. Let me see if that ticket's still there and still open. There's water running, but I'm hearing a click. So I'm wondering if there's... I'm hearing like a drip or something. Or is that something here moving? What the hell is that? I don't know if you can hear it, but the speaker's right there. I hope that's not a water drip from... But the water is... That's the front of the house. It's not. It's way over there, so it wouldn't be dripping over here. So it's got to be something else here moving. Anyway, all right. I've never noticed that sound before, so I just don't know what's moving here. Let's see. Error message. Discrepancy between the numbers. That's still a thing. No, it's not here anymore. So it's not even an open ticket here anymore. But yet it's still a problem. So why? Can that not be fixed? The ones that are still open, sellers are unable to list/revise the items using mobile app due to error message. In sellers listings, the description text are automatically changing to bold letters. A discrepancy in active listing count between overview and listing page. That problem has been going on for about the whole 3 years. I had called in several times 2 years ago. It was fixed for about a week, and then it went back. So that problem is 3 years old and still not fixed. Why in the hell are my items not being accounted for 3 years and that not be fixed? Why in the hell are offers still an issue, but that's now still not an open ticket anymore, even though it's been a consistent issue for over a year? Buyers are getting error messages when trying to apply shop and save coupon during checkout. So I'm wondering, shop and save is just maybe their generic term, because I've had customers saying that my coupons were not working in checkout. I got one yesterday, actually, even. Sellers are unable to list an item due to error message. Well, this is embarrassing. We're sorry, but the application isn't working right now, right this second. Please try again later. And again, another issue that's been going on for quite a while, off and on. Why do these things exist for as long as they do? And the fact that the offer thing's not up there anymore is troubling, because it's never been fixed. It happens almost daily. Either it happens to me or I get a message from a customer almost every day. All right. But we're just going to keep worrying about the stuff we can control. And when all that stuff finally is fixed, our sales will vastly improve because we've been staying up on listing and what have you. We've been keeping on, as those hippies say. Should be my... Okay, stop it. Yeah, I was like, I did pull that. Pretty sure I pulled that. Yeah. I even forget what I pull like an hour after I pull it. All right, earthen vessel. Let's see. Sold for $12, headed to Mandeville, Louisiana. There's no R in there, James. Mandeville, Louisiana. Connie. Next up, are you ready for a cassette lot? We got Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys, right? And father to, what's her name? Carney Wilson from Wilson Phillips. That 80s pop trio. Hold on for one more day. Things will go your way. Just hold on. Why the hell am I saying that crap? Billy somebody. We launch Mel Torme. And we got Petra. $6.50, 555, buy two, get two. Hold on for one more day. Things go your way. I'm secretly a Wilson Phillips fan. I joined the fan club back in 1989. And that Phillips girl, what was her name? Cynthia? How the hell do I know these names? Well, that name I know because she put out a solo album afterward. And she had a net top on, and I worked in a music store. And everybody always said, look, because you could see a nip. Look, what do you see? It's a nip. True story. I think her name was Cynthia. I think it started with something like that anyway. I've said this, I haven't told this story in a long time, but we had this one guy who would come in, old guy, white hair, smokeaholic. He come in just wretched smelling. And I'm guessing, my guess was he's probably like a lawyer or something, because he always had dressed nice and drove a nice car, but he always had this creep side to him. Not that, yeah, okay, most lawyers are creepy. But, and it always smelled like cigarettes. But he would only buy girl-related stuff. Girl bands, girl artists. When the store used to have Playboy videos, he'd buy those. Girl movies, everything girl related. It was really creepy. Never a guy thing. Always bought girl artist or girl acting or girl naked stuff. Just, but hey, to each his own. And if he wasn't hurting nobody, no problems. Everybody's got their own thing, and I'm sure there's a reason he probably couldn't get real women. So, men's got needs. You know what I'm saying? In your house, the CD. So for $6.50, headed to Lansdale, Pennsylvania, because there's no way. There was just something about him. He was never married, or if it was, he had a secret thing going on. But just the way he carried himself, creepily, and smelling like cigarettes and stuff. I doubt there was. I'm pretty sure he was single. Never saw a wedding ring or anything. But then again, he probably enjoyed the ladies of the night, if you will, I'm sure. And, there's nothing wrong with that kind of lifestyle. He probably saved up a lot more money, he kept the money to himself and to his collection, if you will. Because he never seemed like money bought, like he'd spend hundreds of dollars at a time. I could only imagine, like, after he passes and a family member cleaning out his house, seeing all this girl-related stuff going, what the hell's going on here, if they didn't know about it. But hey, no shade. No shade if that's your thing. Charlie's Angels soundtrack. There's perks to everything in life, right? I'm sure there's perks to that lifestyle also. So for $5, headed to Lakewood, Ohio. I don't know what those perks would be exactly, but maybe he was just a very introvert type of person. Maybe he was quirky or something. Well, definitely was quirky. Maybe he had hidden secrets that none of us was ever going to know about. Sammy. Alrighty. Propaganda CD. Sold for $18.50. Heads to Florence, Mississippi. That was one good cool thing about working in a music store for so long. The amount of different characters that would shop in a music store. It was, for somebody who enjoys people watching, one of the best places I've ever been to see the diversity that music and movies, bring out. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful time. Next up, we've got a Super Nintendo controller. Sold for $15. Headed to Davie, Florida. What's wrong, baby girl? You look so sad right now. You okay? Look at her eyes. You all right, baby girl? She's probably just tired. We did get up early. We did get up early. Yeah, right in there. Got the cord wrapped around it. 6. Chino. Next up, South 65 cassette single seal. Sold for $5. Headed to Henderson, Nevada. This is weird. Henderson, Nevada is one of the I'm thinking Henderson, Tennessee. It's one of the places I bought out Hastings. But anyway, I was going to combine two places that I bought out. Because this blue mark indicates on this Hastings tag, indicating this was one of my first buyouts. So that means it was 18 cents I paid for this at the time. Bought out, went down to Springfield, Illinois. This bookstore owner bought a Hastings that was closing there. He kept the books for his bookstore, but he didn't want the music. He reached out to me, I think through eBay. Asked me if I wanted to come down and buy the music. And this was 20 years ago. I said, sure. We drove down to Springfield, Illinois. Bought all the media from him. And it averaged out to 18 cents a piece. And I marked every one with a blue marker on the price tag. So I knew, because at the time I was keeping track of that kind of stuff. So I knew when I made my money back, how far behind I would be getting if I went and bought another lot, et cetera, et cetera. So I always kept kind of a log, if you will, of what I paid and how much I made. Now I don't now because it doesn't matter. But yeah, story time. Okay. Tim. up, we've got the Space Cop Hot Wheel. This one, even though it's older, it doesn't go for that much. So $4, I took an offer, headed to Stockport, Ohio. Get in there. Nope. Stop turning on me, boy. There you go. Stop turning on me, boy. Jason. Waiting for Jason. Next up, John Deere Tractor Songs. Sold for $6, headed to Greenville, Ohio. I think the Springfield thing was maybe the second buyout ever. One of the first. The Greenville, Illinois, not Greenville, Ohio, was the first. For Carrie. And lastly, we got Big Daddy Kane, 12-inch. That sold for $11. Head to East Bernard, Texas. TV looks so comfy too. So comfy. I got the bed to bring down. I keep forgetting to bring it down. 13. Jared. All right. Nose itch. I still have not taken those sinus medicines. We're on day 4 now. I'm finding it very odd how my sinuses improved when I stopped taking sinus medicine. Very odd. Very odd. And I started taking them because my sinuses were so bad. Jared. Carrie. I think they're coming out with a new album, aren't they? Europe? I think I saw that pop up on my feed. Gina. Joyce. Summer, baby. Summer. Barbara. Catherine. Catherine. Oh, Catherine. Scott. Connie. And Mara. Yeah, boy. And that is all. We are done. We got the international, but I'll do that one later because it don't have to go out till tomorrow anyway, technically. So I'll just do that when I got another international to go with it. Yeah, maybe. That's what I'll do. All right. Oh, forgot to scan form. That is all. I am done. I am off to the post office. Get me a frozen Coke so I stay regular today. It's so weird how I poop at the same time every day since I've been drinking a frozen Coke every morning. So odd. I've never been so regular in my life. It's a very weird thing. Maybe I need to look that up and see why. Learn something today, James. Learn something. All right. Thanks, everybody. And I will see you all in the next video. Later.